It's not Starbucks. You know, it's half on the desire to be the best, and then the other secret sauce is the haterade. I call it the haterade. I love it. I love it. You get that haterade, don't get down into that haterade. That haterade is, okay, you got that, you know, you have this difficult client and they wanted to fire you, or, you know, this person leaves you a bad review or something like that. Well, guess what? I'm going to get up at 4 in the morning. I'm going to get 6 more reviews. And I'm going to make that person look like an idiot because they were the one to give me a bad review. You know, they think that doesn't work. I'm going to scale my team out so big, and we're going to be booked 2 months out, and they're going to search for a new accountant, and they're going to look online and say, I'm the #1 ranked accountant in Western Canada, and they can't get back in for an appointment.
I can see the whole wide world with these 2 eyes. And I can be whoever I wanna be, 'cause it's my life.
Okay, here we go. Where's the... Who do we got? Who's drawing? One, 1, 4. Who has 1, 1, 4? 1, 1, 4. There you go. Thank you very much.
Not really expecting it to be good.
I would not assume but he, if I'm not, if I don't want more,
Okay, we got some good questions. Thanks, guys, for getting these flowing in here. So one of the questions was, how much do you invest in personal development? That was actually a pretty good question. So anyone ever asked me that before? I had to do a little bit of calculations in between. One of my things is you get all these business coaches. Some of them drive me nuts. Business coaches. I can go on a whole rant about business coaches. But the first thing you want to ask them, well, is, oh, you're a business coach. How much do you spend on coaching? That should be your first question to any business coach. Because if they truly believe in business coaching, well, do they spend money on business coaching? Or they just think you should spend money on business coaching? My business coach is north of $2,000 a month. And a lot of you guys, if you think I'm intense, you would not like him. So I went out and I shadowed him. There was one day I was shadowing him, and he said, hey, do you mind starting at 6? It was Saturday. Do you mind starting at 6? We're going to start at 6 tomorrow. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, we'll start at 6, right? And this is, you know, kind of his test. And I got there at kind of 5:45. They had been working for an hour and a half already on the podcast. So sometimes I don't even like podcasts that much. And I listen to his podcast every day because it's my reminder that every single day someone else can do a piece of content today, so why can't, you know, he does his 2-hour podcast, and I gotta do my 10-minute video, and I'm whimpering about my 10-minute video that I do today, so it's hard. So I do like some quick totals in between, you know, books and trips and seminars and coaching, and I would say it's probably north of $4,000 a month. That's what I spend on personal development.
to add to that question, how do you, what are the criteria to be hired? Like for me, I feel like it's
Great.
more like,
Love it.
yeah,
Find someone more successful than yourself.
exactly. So they have to already have the success themselves.
I don't know, like, you're trying to find, if you're finding a life coach, they can be a one-man show. If you're finding a business coach who's trying to scale, help you scale a business, unless they're retired from the business that they scaled and sold, I don't know, or unless they have a support team that the information is coming from, right? I would rather hire a teammate in, you know, a business that's scaling than a one-man show. Like, I just think it's, you gotta find someone, you know, if you're trying to get to 20 employees and you're at 5, find someone who's been there before, right? That maybe is one of the options. So, but yeah, they're different different tastes. You get a lot of business coaches. You know, I have, you know, different metrics of what we're gonna do in terms of content and reviews, and people, you know, show up to meetings, and I'm pretty intense. But if I showed up without any Google reviews to my coaching meeting, the coaching meeting is just over. We're just not having a coaching meeting. Like, that's it. Like, just go do what you said you were gonna do. So is that sort of, that's extreme. That's not right for it. Probably something in the middle is a little more right for people, but probably not something on the other end where you're hand holding and you're talking about, you know, singing Kumbaya with each other all the time and not accomplishing anything. There's gonna have to be some hard conversations in there. How do you become disciplined? I kind of got I got a little lucky, and I'll tell you, like, I didn't grow up with rich parents by any stretch of the imagination. I grew up in Clairview, with the rest of the Clairview kids. So some of the stuff I've seen now that I'm a CPA was completely foreign to me. You know, people when they come in and they say, well, yeah, I have 2 McLarens, and I just look at my team and I was like, 2 McLarens, and I'm thinking to myself, but I just act like, well, yeah, it's 2 McLarens. Yeah, you can't buy 1 McLaren. They're like kittens. They get lonely if you only have 1 McLaren. Just roll with it. But you know, I got lucky in a certain sense that my parents had incredible work ethic, and I didn't know it enough when I was growing up. Like, they moved from Newfoundland with like $5 in their pockets here, and you know, no one kind of handed them anything. And my dad was the type of guy who, you know, he would come home from the steel shop after 10 hours a day, and you know, anyone who's worked in a non-air conditioned steel shop before, and then he would come home and hammer, you know, have me throw 100 pitches and hammer 100 ground balls at me and have me take 100 cuts in the cage, and I just thought, oh, this is fun, I like doing it, right? But I didn't realize that he had already worked 10 hours that day. Like, now that I'm an adult, I kind of start to appreciate it, right? So I was probably exposed to that a little bit more differently when I was a kid. My parents were maybe a little bit more intense than some other parents. So, is that a good answer for Amy? Why is it that so many businesses fail, and how do you prevent it? Number 1, you stop believing all of the myths. So number 1, stop believing all the myths. Like, stop watching YouTube get rich quick videos. Stop attending these seminars that say you're going to be a millionaire. Like, stop listening to that stuff and start listening to people who are building real businesses that you can search and you can find their team, and you can find, a lot of them don't even, you know, put out any content whatsoever, right? But just start, you know, be really mindful of the content you're actually consuming. Do a Google search on them, and see, like, is this similar? You know, this guy's telling me to outsource my life, but I'm a dentist. I can't outsource my life. I need people in the chair, and I need to hire hygienists, and it's a real live business. So, I mean, you know, stop listening to that sort of content. Then set up your calendar. Like, number 1, set up your calendar. It's not going to be right. You're not going to get it right the first time, but just set up your calendar and try it. Block out your days, block out your time, actually set your calendar and do it. That's number 1. And, you know, really, this entire seminar, like, if you look at these 8 things on it, do these 8 things. You know, you have to make sure that you have enough to pay your bills while you're running this business. You have to make sure that we can actually pay our bills. You know, make sure that we have a business plan in place. We actually want to have some semblance of a marketing strategy that's not just, I'm going to call everybody I know. That's not a marketing strategy. You have to start writing checklists and templates. they're boring, and you think they don't work, and they do. And then you have to have a strategy to start building your team, and that strategy does not involve, I'm gonna post an ad when I need somebody. That's not a strategy. Do those 8 things. Especially that calendar. You get that calendar set up, just do it. If it works once, do it over and over and over again. We'll talk about content in a bit. And I was talking with Matt one time, and I realized that weekly content worked so well. Doing one piece of content a week. And what did I tell you, Matt?
It works once a week. Why not do it every day? See what happens.
See what happens. It worked it once a week, so let's do it every single day and see what happens, right? So it's those 8 things. So just look at these 8 sections, do those 8 things. You're gonna reduce your chance of failure with a heavy emphasis on that calendar. When do you find time for family and leisure? I'm not taking projects home. So when I get home at 7:30, maybe 7:30 is kind of the time. Like, I'm actually going to spend that time now. So, and that's not a lot of time. But how many people here will get home at 5 o'clock and then they're gonna watch Game of Thrones for 2 hours? Or they're gonna play some video games. My schedule's intense, but I actually don't do anything else other than work or family. Like I used to go watch Oiler games, I used to play some sports, I really don't do anything else. That's the sacrifice, you don't have to do that. You can have a slightly less of a work calendar and have some social life, but I would challenge people to say, I need more family time. Well, what does that family time look like? Does that family time look like with you parked in front of the couch? Is that really family time? Are they really sacrificing? Or what if you actually come home and spend 2 hours of actual quality time? And you're actually engaging. I'll rip off another lyrical miracle, but being present, is it present? Or are you just sitting there on the couch, half doing a project and half engaging with your family? I'd rather 2 hours of uninterrupted time than 4 or 5 hours of half TV time. And then I never work Sundays, so I don't work Sundays. So, and if you really do have to do something else, do it earlier. So don't if you have this sort of regimented schedule, do it earlier. So we recently onboarded a real motivated client, and we didn't have any slots, and they were ready to go. When did I tell you guys we could meet? 6 a.m. And they showed up at 6 a.m. Unlike probably every other hairdresser on the planet who can't show up before 10, these two showed up at 6 a.m. So A, I knew they wanted to work with them, and B, I didn't sacrifice that, basically 2 hours that I get every single evening, right? In the first section, you discuss watching numbers. What are you supposed? I'm going to table that one because we'll do a whole section on it, and if we still have anyone, we'll come back to that one. How would you overcome rejection if your business is people-based, meaning you can't find the people, they do not seek you? Well, rejection is, when we talk about the discipline and the habits, but people, you need to change your mind about rejection. And rejection can be the secret sauce. Rejection can be the reason why you actually do get up in the morning. So every time you get rejection, you got to shift your mindset and say that's an encouragement. This is one more reason. I view it. This is I crossed it out here and put it on the camera. It's not Starbucks. It's half on a desire to be the best, and then the other secret sauce is the haterade. I call it the haterade. I love it. You get that haterade, don't get down into that haterade. That haterade is, okay, you got that, you had this difficult client and they wanted to fire you, or this person leaves you a bad review or something like that. Well, guess what? I'm going to get up at 4 in the morning. I'm going to get 6 more reviews, and I'm going to make that person look like an idiot because they were going to give me a bad review. They think that doesn't work. I'm going to scale my team out so big, and we're going to be booked 2 months out, and they're going to search for a new accountant, and they're going to look online and see, I'm the #1 ranked accountant in Western Canada, and they can't get back in for an appointment. We had a client recently, tried to get back in for an appointment, wants to get back in for the appointment. I'm not going to take his appointment. He had one chance at it, right? That's the haterade. So don't look at it as that's the criticism to get you down. That's the reason why you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's the reason why you keep going to 7 o'clock at night. It's the haterade. That's what you want. So every time someone gives it to me, it's like a gift. It's like I just found $100. It's like now I got something to work for tomorrow. So that's my trick for what it's worth. I don't know. So did you always schedule work? If not, how did you learn to schedule or learn you needed to schedule? I saw a lot, like we do a lot of medical professionals, and I articled at a firm that did almost exclusively medical professionals. And doctors, as bad as the decisions they make in some other business areas of their life, their appointment book can be really useful sometimes. Like just the way they see appointment after appointment, you know, some of them are terrible, they leave you in your waiting room for 2 hours, but some of them just have it like locked in, and they are seeing appointment after appointment. And guess what? When you call them, does the doctor ever answer the call and schedule the appointment? No, because he's seeing patients. That's the reason why I don't answer the phone, because you know I'm actually doing the work. I'm making the business plans better. I'm making the financial planning template better. I'm not dealing with every individual fire, and then I'm spending my time actually doing the work face to face, hand to hand with the client. Whereas if I was taking phone calls, I couldn't do it. So I probably learned a lot from there, and I really did have to learn again. You know, as I started to scale my team, like if you want to get from 2 employees to 5 employees to 10 employees, like you got to be more regimented. Like you just have to have those times, because or else you can't keep. If you're just a one-man show and you just want to do this here and there, and well, you can do that, but you're probably never going to grow. Your team needs to be able to count on you at specific times, right? It's just kind of like any relationship. If you tell them you're going to be there at one time, you got to be there at that time, right? Like what if your spouse told you that they were going to come home at 7 and they showed up at 10? Your employees will feel the same way, right? So you really just have to come to that realization. So it really was a growth process, and you look at the books and they all start saying the same thing. The time blocks, they're doing the same thing over and over again. That's not just a Gary Keller thing. It's it's my favorite book on the subject, but you could probably find 100 different books on the subject that say the same thing. You get that repeatable schedule they do over and over. Like Jocko Willink in the Extreme Ownership, he'll post at 5 a.m. on his Instagram every day a picture of his watch.
4:30.
4:30. Yeah. There you go. So, I mean, it's not this is not something weird. It seems weird, but it's just been done hundreds of times before, right? So you have to have those time blocks. Distracted work doesn't work. Your competition is just running circles around you, because business is hard. There's a lot of smart people competing against me. There's a lot of smart people competing against you. You do not want to be operating at less than full capacity. So, okay, so let's get into the next section.